Carpe diem.
Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours. Got lots of love. Love. 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 Got lots of love. Love.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to some more CGL Season 13 action. We've got the first matchup in the Diamond tier that we've had in a little while. We've got Weezer versus, don't expect us to say this name every time, but IUPUI Bastion OF. Tonight, I am joined by Dexatron. How you feeling, Dex? You ready to get going?
Man, I am feeling great. Here we have a great match between Weezer and Indianapolis University, Purdue University, Indiana. Right here tonight. It's going to be a fun one. They want us to just call them the Bastions. I just wanted to get that name out there one time before we hop in here. But right now, both these teams come into this game 1-2 on the season, one looking to put themselves at 500 going into next week.
Yeah, should be a pretty good matchup here. You know, just get a little bit higher in the standings. I'm not sure how many teams are going to make the mid-season tournament. Moving forward, 4 in the Diamond division are going to make it into the mid-season tournament. So, you know, this is definitely going to be a jockey for positioning here to try and punch their ticket to the mid-season tournament, which I believe is next week, believe it or not. We're already halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, this game right here could be the difference between one team making it and one team not making it. I don't think there's that many teams in the Diamond tier, so, I mean, I believe there's only 6 or 7. One of these teams will have to be left out.
Yeah, it's you know, a little bit, especially during the mid-season tournament, it's a little bit more constringent than I think the postseason tournament will be. It's a little more tight. You're not going to be able to get in with as bad a record as you might in the postseason tournament, but that's because the mid-season tournament, you know, even in the higher tiers, it's not for the money. It's just for, you know, rewards for later down the line in the season. If you win the tournament, I believe the reward for winning the tournament is going to be an extra win on your record.
Yes.
And coming in second place is, I think you get an extra, so 3 maps. So not quite the win, but you get 3 map points on your record, which can help with map differential. And then you get 1 for qualifying out of the 4.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a huge benefit to making that mid-season tournament rather than missing it out. I mean, you just get the 1 map win for making. You could also, you know, get a completely another win on your record, and especially if it's that first place team that wins it. I mean, essentially, they could potentially be looking at locking up a spot in the postseason, the playoffs. after the midseason tournament here. But hey, we have been talking a lot here already about the midseason tournament. Why don't we introduce you to Weezer here tonight? Sweet Potato and Sanji on the DPS line. Lucky Prince, your tank, and Slayer of, and Wu Knight, your support line here. Fletch, I mean, this is a good roster here, despite what their record is.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that in like the diamond tier, it's going to be a little bit rougher around the edges, right? So I do definitely think that if there's any tier where a team can pop off out of nowhere, I think it'll be this diamond tier, right? Where everybody's a little bit less polished, and you can take advantage of the weaknesses of an enemy a little bit easier, I think. So I do definitely think that, you know, I did look at the standings, and these two teams are sitting at 4 and 5 each. So it should be, you know, a team will jump another team here, no matter what happens. But let's get a look at the opponent here in the Bastions. It's going to be Drowsy and the Potatoizer on the DPS, Spotted Squid on the tank, and Lupin Alcer and Teddy Graham on the support in the backline. And you know, just based off of the characters that we're seeing here, I do like the Bastion's composition a little bit better right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just seeing what their favorite hero is. I mean, I have a little bit of experience with this team from Get Good, and they were a solid team over there, but that was a long time ago, and that was way before the Season 9 patch that came in. And I want to see how they have changed with that patch here, but still, a very good team. Bastions are right here. If anyone I'm watching out for here tonight, I would be definitely watching out for Spotted Squid, a great tank player in their own right. But Fletch, we do know what map we will be heading to here first. We were going to the South Pole, to Antarctic Peninsula.
If both of these teams, you know, come out, which is, it's obviously not a certainty that they're going to come out on the characters that we just saw, right? Like you said, it's just their favorite characters to play. Antarctic Peninsula is good for both of those compositions, right? You know, the Rush Brawl style, the Reinhardt and the Junker Queen both provide. It works here on Antarctic Peninsula, and while I don't think that it's the best composition that we can see here on Antarctic Peninsula, I do still think that Ramatra is probably, you know, the best tank in the game, you know, to play around, especially. I do think that both of these teams will more than be comfortable on Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, and I also think this would just be a good map for both these teams to really warm up on a little bit. I truly do expect that we're going to see the Ramatras from both sides, but if we don't, I mean, it will kind of give us the insight for what both teams are necessarily comfortable with. Control's always that map where you want to pick what you're comfortable running. If you're going to want to run dive, you're going to come out on dive. If you want to run that Ramatra, you're going to run that Ramatra here. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these two teams want to come out with here, because yeah, we are in that diamond tier, and I feel like that does give some leeway into, you know, people playing, you know, picking meta picks and picking away from the meta a little bit, because a lot of the time down here, if you're really good with a character, you might just try to hard carry with that character here.
Yeah, and you know, I was talking about it earlier, right, where you can capitalize on the weaknesses easier, you know, down here, because it's a little bit less polished, and it's for the same reason that, you know, if you're like you said, really comfortable on something, you can probably make it work, right? You're gonna get punished less if you know that you're really comfortable on something, and if you do, you know, get punished, it can be rough, right? Which I think, man, you'll have to excuse me, I don't like. We saw Hathrobo last season in the Diamond tier, was a really strong Ashe player, and the only time that team didn't look at its best, which they were a really strong team that last season, right? But when the Throbo got focused down on the Ashe, they just didn't look that good. And, you know, admittedly, it didn't happen a lot, but, you know, if that does happen to you, you're going to have to find a way to adapt and overcome the troubles that your specialization causes you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, while I talk about, people, picking their comfort picks, I still do think we're going to see what is mostly the meta here at the moment, whether it be the Lucio Bap or you throw the Zen in there. The Ramatra is still a very strong pick. The Jungle Queen as well, strong at the moment. You look at DPS, I mean, Genji is starting to pop up a little bit again. You have Tracer, Sojourn, Mei, still a very, very strong pick here because just the abilities that Mei has, no matter what, are just going to be good no matter what the patches, no matter what changes they make to other heroes. That Ice Wall is so viable here on any map. But I mean, remember, Fletch, this game right here is essentially for a spot in the mid-season tournament here for this NA Diamond PC tier. I mean, it is going to be very important for both these teams here to try to win this matchup. You talked about already, they come in 4 and 5 in the standings, both 1 and 2. Whoever wins, like I said, I feel like they do lock themselves in.
Yeah, there are currently, as it stands, 4 teams that are sitting at 1 and 2 on the season going into week 4. So there is still a lot of positioning to be made, but I do think that it doesn't really matter. I think whoever wins this game is probably going to lock up a spot in the midseason tournament. So I think that this is very, 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 very important. You know, they're competing with IUPUI, Cloud9, and Emerald as well for this spot. And then, there's the 3-0 Sinners that are, sitting pretty on the top of the standings at 3-0 going in. So we are going to head into our map here. Sorry about the little bit of the delay, but I do think that, whoever wins this match is going to lock up their spot in the tournament.
Going to lock up or be very, very comfortable with it. But now you see what each team is kind of showing us here at the start. Bastions are showing us the Sigma pick here, and I do like Drowsy on this Echo pick here. But then you look at Weezer, and I see the Reinhardt, and I've heard a lot of people talk about how Rein might be in one of the worst spots right now of any of the tanks in the game. They're currently hovering him like they're going to be coming out him. But I do like this pick that Sweet Potato has right here on this Bastion. They want to try to melt people down behind this shield before that shield gets melted down itself. I feel like that's a little bit of a good kind of counter with this shield between what Bastions is playing and what Weezer is playing here. But you do see them want to take the space early.
All right, here we go. Map number 1, it's Laboratories here on Antarctic Peninsula. Lucky Prince taking so much damage, having to play very, very safe, but already 60% to Earth Shatter here for the Reinhardt player. Can they find a pin? They cannot. It's a great boop by Teddy Graham to throw the Reinhardt player back.
Weezer. I mean, yeah, the Moira can do a lot and Lucio can do whatever they can, but once Lucky Prince got very low, they prioritized their own health rather than trying to shield their team there. That was the right play there by them, but it hurt the rest of their team. You saw Sweet Potato fall early. Now you immediately see that swap there. Sweet Potato finds Potatoizer.
That's a great early 6, and Lucky Prince is going to turn Teddy Graham into just some crumbs on the wall with the pin there, and a couple for Lucky Prince is going to lead to Weezer taking over here.
Yeah, and I mean, it really also
out of no man's land and could not drop down into the wheels form, and Lucky Prince has the Earth Shatter but died out of it. Spotted Squid taking it to the chin of Lucky Prince, is able to kill the Reinhardt out of Earth Shatter, and that spells doom for Weezer here. It's just stay alive, get as much percentage as possible now, and with Monos going down, it will be the Bastions taking back over here.
And Sweet Potato even coming in, getting that pick right there. I mean, it still doesn't help them out here as they eventually get picked off there by Lupin. I mean, it hurts them a little bit here. Yeah, they have this lead. You see Lucky Prince go over to the Ramatra now. I like this swap, but look at the Bastions. A whole squad of ultimates right now to Weezer's too. I mean, the Bastions, if they play this smart, they can easily carry through the rest of this point with their ultimates.
Here we go. Tactical Visor in the wings for Sanji. Can they find something with it? The Amp Matrix out from Lupin. The rock hits Lucky Prince, and my God, everybody is so low from the side of the Bastions, and Weezer will get the flip, but they're not able to find all of the confirmed kills. And somehow, Teddy Graham gets away with their life. I do not know if Slayer was able to fully get away there, as Sweet Potato is now on the Sombra, and Slayer coming in for the assist, gonna help to take down. Sound barrier did not come out. I don't know what I just saw, but I saw something. The duplicate is going to come out from Drowsy. I know that one is true. The Ramatra will fade away with the use of the Annihilation, and Weezer will be able to put an end to this point, at least I think so. The recall gonna be used by Potatoizer to stay alive. Slayer is able to burn down Lupin, but yeah, there we go. Not going to be enough as Teddy Graham and Potatoizer fall. It will be Laboratories going over to Weezer.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the biggest play there in that entire first point was when Sanji went to the point themselves, by themselves, while the rest of the two teams fought on that high ground, started to cap it, solo cap it on their own. And you saw what that did there to Bastions. They were trying to decide who falls down, who stays up, and it gave Weezer that opening to find the first pick. Yeah, that was a very back and forth fight there. Both sides lost members, but it was Weezer coming out on top. And then they never looked back. Remember, heading into that engagement, Bastions had all 5 ultimates ready to go. They used 2, found, I believe, only 1 pick there with the visor from Potatoizer, but really nothing else after that. And then you saw just some ultimates come out there from Bastions. The Flux from Spotted Squid didn't really find anyone there. Teddy Graham did use their beat pretty early on, but Drowsy's
the Reinhardt is big, and Sweet Potato falling is going to mean that the Bastions take over pretty easily.
And look, immediately, Lucky Prince gets off that Reinhardt. They're going to keep on trying to play this Reinhardt. They're going to keep on having the same outcome here. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to find a lot of value. Going over to this Ramatra, we talked about before, probably the best tank in the game at the moment. They're going to be able to take space, be able to put up a shield, save their team a little bit, and also, once they go in that Nemesis form, find a lot of value on their own with damage. Now you see Lucky Prince engaging in. This is what you want to see Weezer doing.
Here we go. Having...
Weezer, because of those swaps, are still kind of, hanging around some of the mid pack of their, or mid tier of their percentages here, but they are coming up on 2 ultimates right now. Both.
It's up to Teddy Graham to use the sound barrier, but with the death of Spotted Squid and Drowsy now, there's no reason to use it here as the Kitsune rush, and the sound barrier came out from the side of Weezer, so a heavy investment from Weezer, but they get the fight win.
They get the fight win, but that investment from Weezer was actually kind of equal to what Bastion used. I mean, look at what Bastion used. They used the Flux, they used the Visor. Weezer used both their support ultimates, and now look at what they're coming up on. They're coming up on the Annihilation, on the Blizzard, and soon an Overclock. So it's a pretty even fight here, but Teddy Graham, I think it was smart for them not to use that beat in that last fight, considering Monos had used theirs.
The worst case scenario for Weezer. Their Ramatra gone, their sustainability gone, the overclock comes out, but with the immortality field is going to prove to be too one more map to the side, Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this map kind of deserved to go all 3 points. You saw it really there on Labs. It was very close, back and forth. Then you head over here to Icebreaker. And it's again, same, back and forth. Each team able to win fights. Again, then come back in, win fights after losing. But right now, IUPUI, I mean, they're looking a lot better because you're not necessarily seeing the swaps that Weezer had to do on those first 2 maps. You see Sanjay go back over to the Soldier here. I like that pick, especially for this map. A lot more open area. The Visor is a lot better, in my opinion, than the Overclock on this map. Sweet Potato, though, making a swap here late, going over to the Ash instead. Very, very interesting here. I imagine you want to try to get onto someone like Lupin, like Teddy Graham. Try to get them to use some of their abilities a little bit early on in the fight, followed up after. But as I say that, they swap over to the Sombra instead, so they want to shut down someone. I'm probably staring at Lupin or Spotted Squid, get that shield gone right away, find that Sigma out here early. But if you're
that Sombra very, very quickly, but this fight is still far, far from over, and the trades keep coming through. Lucky Prince pummels down Drowsy, and it will be Weezer that is able to come out on top of this. They don't have to switch anymore. They're just saying, hey, the Ramatra's better. I concede.
Yeah, we talked about the Ramatra in probably the best spot of any of the tanks at the moment, especially probably in this tier. I mean, still just a very, very physical force, just a presence as well. Once they go into that Nemesis form, you don't necessarily want to be very close. Forces a team to either engage or back out as fast as they can. We see Sweet Potato here looking at the hack. They get the virus instead on the someone, but you immediately see the fight break out.
They popped a Coalescence, and Spotted Squid is under a lot of duress by this Coalescence. Cannot hide behind the shield. And, I mean, they're able to get rid of the Immortality field, but as the duplicate fades away for Drowsy, they've locked up this point pretty handily. They don't want to give up yet. Weezer is still fighting this.
I mean, if you're Weezer, I mean, you were still probably thinking you were holding on to that point there. Once that point flips, throwing buys on the point was not necessarily going to help him there. But one thing that we saw last point, now this point as well, Drowsy has been able just to kind of fly into the back lines here, off angles, find early picks and fights they desperately need to win as the Flux comes out here from Spotted Squid.
Here we go. Gravitic Flux out, finding a bunch of damage here, and they're able to find out the Sombra early. Sanji on the off angle, trying to find a little bit of chip damage here. Can they take down the Ramatra? The Amp Matrix is going to come out. Lupin throwing out the Amp Matrix to, provide a lot of extra damage, and the tactical visor from the back line and the sound barrier from Monos comes out, and it was meant for only 2 people. It didn't even get that.
And yeah, Bastions are only at 60%, but that could be something that costs you this map here. And Lucky Prince going over to the Reinhardt. I mean, I feel like we've seen the story with the Reinhardt. It's probably not the right pick here, but they can come out and make a presence on this Ryan. It could be something that flips this map in their opinion or in their favor right now, but Teddygram has this beat. That's the only ultimate ready to go for Bastions here. Sweep here, they're looking for that EMP. Gonna be able to find 4 with it.
4 with EMP, cleaned up with the virus there as the sound barrier comes out late. It's 2 for 2. So this could very well still go in the way of the Bastions, but I mean, the cleaving damage of Lucky Prince is so much. Can they get rid of the Lucio? They can't do it. And with Lucky Prince's death, I mean, at 99%, you have to imagine that Bastions have all but locked up this point. Monos has to keep this point alive, and the Bastion returns for Sweet Potato, but that is it. Weezer cannot keep up. Going back to the ill-advised Reinhardt composition, and the Bastions, they dominate on at least on the 3rd map.
Yeah, I mean, it was a back and forth map here again, but Bastions, they did look a little bit stronger on it. I want to go back to the EMP here, though, from Potatoizer. It's not going to be the play of the game, but the EMP, they were able to find 4. They got to kill immediately right after it, but in my opinion, they got it on to the wrong person. They took care of the Echo. Instead, they need to go for the Lucio. The Lucio had the beat that they used immediately right after to keep their team alive, and that was the difference there on that final point. If they get that Lucio out of there first, there's no beat. Everyone on Bastions probably falls right there, and Weezer takes control of the map. And I feel like with that Ryan there, it was starting to actually work out a little bit there for Weezer. It just didn't end up working out for them because of everything that happened there. There's no beat, that Ryan's able to win that fight for them and able to take some pressure and some space against this Bastions team.
And we were talking about it, how in the Diamond tier, it's going to be a little more rough around the edges, and the mistakes are bound to happen, right? Where you don't really expect them, especially when we're running the unconventional comps that these teams are comfortable on. It's just a thing that's going to happen, right? These players, they're still good players in their own right, and they deserve the recognition that they come with. But at the end of the day, they don't have the training or the experience at the speed of the higher ranks to make those quick decisions just yet, right? Maybe they'll get there eventually, and I do honestly hope that, because I do see a lot of upside with a lot of these players, but when you're beating for 2 people and you can't get one of those people, that, like you said, it's going to cost a lot, and it cost everything there. So moving forward, I mean, if you can, that is a big mistake that you can say, hey, maybe we just don't do that next time. Because that is a very big thing that you can point at and say, hey, this is the turning point of that map. If we curb that mistake and just take the fight loss gracefully, we can move forward with a powerful ultimate in the sound barrier and potentially win the map here.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say, that was the thing that did cost them the map. Maybe it was, the thing that broke the camel's back there. There were probably a couple other things leading up to that moment there that did really hurt them. I mean, they used the visor when it was just them on their own. They had the Lucio there as well. The visor found nothing. The beat not able to get to them. Fell right there. That, again, like I kind of said, once Bastions took that point, Weezer should have backed out of that one there, but they so desperately wanted to try to just keep that fight going. It did end up hurting them there. But I mean, hey, that's only one map. There's still a lot more maps to go in this series, but we do know where we'll be heading next here. We're going to be heading to the hybrid map of Blizzard World.
And I think that this map leans itself really, really strongly into what the Bastions want to do. If they want to keep onto their Sigma composition, I already think that the Sigma composition in a vacuum is probably better than their Reinhardt composition on the other side. but not in a vacuum on Blizzard World. I think the Sigma is magnitude stronger if you're running it well, which I do think that the Bastions are running the Sigma well enough. So I do expect the Bastions going into Blizzard World are going to remain on the Sigma composition with the Soldier 76. And for Weezer, I'm interested to see. I really, really want them to stay on the Ramatra, because I think that Weezer looked their best when they were on the Ramatra. I don't think that the Reinhardt, they had moments and little flashes of where the Reinhardt could have worked, but they never really put the puzzle together. So I really, really want them to try and focus more on that Ramatra comp.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, thinking about Blizzard World here, especially this first point, a lot of the times you will see teams potentially try to run dive. I mean, that is something, especially from a team like Weezer, who has not been afraid to, make those tank swaps. I would not be surprised to see. But actually, it's Bastions teasing us here. They still have 30 seconds to make swaps, but on the ball has actually been a little bit of an interesting tank, in my opinion, here recently. I feel like there are some people in teams who are starting to run the ball a little bit just to try to throw the other team off. But look at what Weezer's coming out here with. Basically, what Bastions was playing that last time. You see Sanji go back over to the Soldier, and Sweet Potato on this Ashe. I mean, they teased the Ashe on that third point, but before going back to a Sombra, but it seems like they're going to ride with the Ashe this time. But I really do like the support line here for Bastions. Lupin on this Zenyatta, Teddygram on this Brig. I mean, right now, Zenyatta is in a really strong place, in my opinion. Essentially, almost a third DPS with how much damage they can put out. I mean, he used to be throwing baseballs. Now he's throwing cannonballs at this point.
Yeah, and here we go. You see Spotted Squid. I imagine we probably can't see as well as Spotted Squid can. Not quite able to get that fire going to, knock some people around. Gonna have to just get out of here. That Discord Orb, it's another one of those things. You talk about Zenyatta dealing a lot of damage. Discord Orb is a massive, massive part of that and an annoyance to every tank player on the planet right now. And Spotted Squid is no different. You see Potatoizer there on the point, and Lucky Prince with that Discord Orb on them is going to go down on the point. And just like that, the Bastions rip right through Weezer.
And give Spotted Squid all the credit for that fight there. Yeah, you saw the fight there on the point with Lucky Prince going up against two members of Bastions right there. But that was because Spotted Squid had came in and forced everyone back behind that first choke point to the point where Lucky Prince had no support, no DPS support, no support to heal him up. And Spotted Squid still just doing the same thing right now of rolling through everyone here on Weezer, causing havoc and not being punished for it.
Sleep. A little bit too low to put the rat away. Gonna be able to survive here, a little under half HP. The Bastions are significantly closer to their ultimates. As you see, Slayer has gone over to the Ana off of the Zenyatta previously. Lupin now has the Transcendence on the Zen, and that is the only ultimate in the lobby, but there's about to be 4 in the bank for the Bastions, and the closest right now are the 3 70% players on the side of Weezer, the Flux, the Bob, and the Overclock, but it doesn't look like either of them or 3 of them are going to be failed to attain here their ultimates in this fight as the Dragon Blade comes out. I mean, this could spell an end to this fight without Weezer not only not having used an ultimate, but not having gained an ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Lucky Prince is going to get their ultimate basically once they come out of the spawn here. And 5.5 minutes plus on the time bank here for Bastions. I mean, they are playing this comp to perfection, and Weezer just hasn't been able to really figure anything out yet. Yeah, you talked about both their supports making these swaps here, but again, you have to be looking at someone like Sanji, someone like Sweet Potato. Make a swap to try to counter this ball out. Sweet Potato's not afraid to play the Sombra. They played it a lot the last map. This would be a good time to pull that Sombra back out just to try to shut down Spotted Squid here a little bit.
And here we go. The ultimate advantage is in the way of Weezer right now. They're building up to 5 here and under pressure a lot from Potatoizer is Sweet Potato. Not going to be able to get away with it this time. The trade, however, is there for Lucky Prince, and Bob is a nightmare for just about anybody trying to dive a backline. Those turrets are annoying, especially when they deal as much damage as Bob does. They're just trying to get this extra cart percentage. As the rally came out for Monos, they're going to push the Bastions back.
Yeah, and the Bastions falling back here is a really good thing. I mean, they lost 2 players. They lost both their DPS. Fall back, regroup with them. But now, Weezer, you're in a good spot here. You're holding on to 3 ultimates. The Nano, I don't think it has to go on the Lucky Prince. Probably should go on the Sanji if they're going to give it to anyone here.
Here we go. Being a nightmare in the face of Lucky Prince. The rally going to be used by Teddy Graham. The Nano boost onto Sanji is going to find a little bit of value here finally now that they've used the overclock. Drowsy is able to drop the overclock, but it's not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough there, but I mean, again, Weezer, they just used all their ultimates. Bastion still holding on to this Transcendence right now. You see Drowsy close, 70% to a Blade, but right now, Weezer has slowed down the Bastions here, which is something they really haven't done so far this map. And if you lose another fight here, if you're the Bastions, I would not be surprised to see some swaps come out from someone like Spotted Squid.
Here we go. They're building up to a few more ultimates here, just about. Drowsy almost building up to another Dragon Blade. The Discord Orb, I believe, was on Sweet Potato back there as Spotted Squid and Drowsy get to work on the dive. The Dragon Blade goes to town, and they're able to cut down just about everyone. And with the death of Sanji, I mean, everybody on the side of Weezer goes right back to spawn, and now it's desperation time for Weezer. Can they get the touch? 3 meters, 1 meter, no meters. They do not get there. The Bastions, with just under 3 minutes, dominate on the attack. They slowed down a little bit here towards the end, but they got through near flawlessly.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you see that time bank there. Almost 3 minutes is insane on any hybrid map. Bastions, I mean, those first 2 points were just to perfection. Spotted Squid taking all that attention, all that pressure off the rest of their team really did help them out a lot there. But once you got into these more close confined areas, you saw Weezer start to win a couple fights there. They used some ultimates. Bastion used some ultimates as well. But I mean, it was just once Weezer used all their ultimates and Bastion really had those 2, you saw them immediately find all the value they needed to complete the map there. Bastions, though, I'm honestly surprised they're coming back out with the ball comp here. I thought that maybe they would try something a little bit more defensive. The ball comp screams to me a little bit to be a little bit more offensively. But Weezer at the moment is still, I mean, you see Slayer still trying to decide what they're going to run here. Lucky Prince coming out on this Orisa. It is a very interesting pick here. I'm trying to like think here. They don't expect to see the ball here. The Javelin is a good way to stop the ball. You see Sweet Potato coming out on the Torb. And in my opinion, they think that someone like Drowsy, Potatoizer might come out on an Echo. I mean, we did see that a little bit last map, especially with Drowsy. They were always able to find their way into the backline by flanking. Very good on Antarctic Peninsula. The turret, though, from Sweet Potato, it has to find a ton of value for them if they really want to find any success.
Here we go. Weezer have a chance to respond to the monumental time bank from the side of the Bastions. The slam comes through. The turret is already gone and looping from across the map. Mows it down Monos. And I mean, that is basically already an end to this fight. Especially with Sanji going down. Monos going to switch over to Lucio. But I mean, Lucky Prince had to back out there or die and chose the way of fighting. And I mean, the Bastion just mow right through Weezer.
And like I said before, the Zenyatta throwing baseballs before, now they're throwing cannonballs. And you might say, well, they're not that much bigger in size, but they are definitely a lot denser, which means they will hit you a lot harder here. And look what Lupin was able to do there. I'm so kind of surprised we're not seeing any swaps here from Weezer.
Weezer, the only thing they did, I mean, they went to Lucio. I feel like that they want to play a little faster, I guess. And, you know, the Life Weaver really didn't provide much of this composition anyway, so I do like the Lucio a little more, I guess. And Drowsy right now trying to find a little bit of that value, and Potatoizer has the pulse bomb, but Sweet Potato from the backside going to be able to just take down Potatoizer pretty easily. They do take down Slayer, but can they keep this going any longer? The health pools say probably not right now. The Wrecking Ball continues to be an annoyance as Spotted Squid gets a health pack. And they're going to stay on this. They're going to continue to contest as long as they can. And they're going to stay alive for a little bit. And then Spotted Squid comes out, uses the Pulse Bomb probably a little bit haphazardly. And, the touches just keep coming through the stragglers. They think that they can hold on, but they can't. And Weezer's going to take over point A at 4.5 minutes. And the offensive begins. They get aggressive.
Yeah, already finding 2 picks. I mean, this is a great start here for Weezer after capping the first point. And yeah, you brought up Monos going over to this Lucio. They need to go over to this Lucio. Without the Lucio here, this Orisa does not have the speed to necessarily get in and out of fights safely.
I mean, Spotted Squid now finally getting called out by the side of Weezer. They're able to track down this Wrecking Ball and not let them get away here on the defense. The defense, it's not nearly as forgiving for the mistakes that you make with those ball techs. Potatoizer, though, going to be able to put those Helix rockets to work to take down Sweet Potato. So that's a pretty good pick there, and a little bit of that damage gone for the side of Weezer. As you see the Orisa up there, they have 5 ults for the side of Weezer, so the Terra Surge very much in play here. And the Dragon Blade and the Transcendence are really all that the Bastions have got in the bank right now, as we see the Molten Core come out from Sweet Potato, but immediately gets taken down. I mean, those Molten Core splotches are all over the place, but nowhere that they would burn down the Bastions if they were standing still. I mean, they're able to just play around it, and the trades are coming through left and right as the Terra Surge is used by the Orisa, and just barely Sanji cannot get away. Unfortunately for Weezer, Lucky Prince using that Terra Surge is going to spell the end of this fight. Could not find any value with it. Now Slayer is giving up on the Baptiste.
And I would not be surprised if you see Lucky Prince swap as well, and you do over to the Rhyme, but Slayer, don't be standing there. Even Potato-wise are just kind of staring there like, really? You were there? But I mean, right now, Bastions, you see them. They're building up to 2 ultimates. They're in a really good spot. Sanji does have this Pulse Bomb radio. Sweet Potato going over to the Sombra. Again, you want to be able to shut down someone here. Is it Spotted Squid back on the Sigma now, which they looked really good on the last map here. And it's going to be very difficult for Weezer to kind of go into it here again, because we saw how difficult it was for Lucky Prince to get anything going with this Ryan last map.
Oh, but Spotty Squid gets way punished out there. Super far ahead of their team. So, I mean, the punishment for your hubris is death in the case of Spotted Squid. I mean, you thought that you could push up and find a lot of value, and Potatoizer has this tactical visor. We've seen them use it in worse positions before. So they're going to drop down on top of Monos, and they're going to be able to break down the Lucio. And this Ant Matrix deals so much damage to Lucky Prince. Sweet Potato is able to burn down Potatoizer. Can they take down the Reinhardt here with the Discord Orb in the face of the Baptiste? Baptiste does end up getting taken down, and, the capture will more than likely come through here. But if you'll notice, that time bank is not going to be as high as I think even Bastion's finishing time bank was.
No, but at the end of the day, end of the fight, Weezer is just happy that they got this second point. They have a chance to complete the map. Force and overtime here. And Sweet Potato, in my opinion, on this Sombra, is starting to find a lot of value. Saw them get the hack there on the Spotted Squid as it came back out to try to contest. It completely got rid of the grasp there for a second, got rid of the shield. You saw Spotted Squid die almost immediately after. Now look at Weezer here, building up the 4 ultimates. The EMP is going to be the most important one of them all. It could shut down the flux here from Spotted Squid whenever they use it.
But Potatoizer going down early is not going to be good. And 3 taken out by the EMP. I mean, they're able to take down Sweet Potato, but it's just not going to be enough. And now you see Sanji going back to be the cart princess. And finally, this is a good start here. They only use a couple of ultimates there, and they still have 3 in the bank.
Yeah, they only used 2 here. The Shatter, though, is going to be the biggest thing for them coming in this next fight. Spotted Squid, again, has the Flux. Drowsy close to a Blade here. Monos has to build up that beat here pretty quickly if they want to be able to survive both these 2 ultimates.
The Gravitic Flux came out, and they're not going to be able to find much of anything with it. The Dragon Blade dealing a lot of damage, and Lucky Prince, I mean, I can respect the honor and glory of the Reinhardt rather than disengaging. You just screw my team. I'm going to pin in with 3 people dead. And you see there, Sanji's able to get it away there. But yeah, I mean, they still have the Earth Shatter and the Sound Barrier in the face of Bastion's nothing. Oh.
Yeah, but you just lose Sanji as well, so that Tracer backline pressure is gone here. You do find a pick on the Potatoizer, so now you can play a little bit quicker here. But Drowsy going over to this Reaper is going to be really interesting as the beat comes out early.
Sound Barrier from Monos is going to fade away. The Earth Shatter only going to hit Spotted Squid, and Lucky Prince gets eviscerated. Absolutely destroyed by the damage of Weezer. Recall out from Sanji. Can they get away here? They cannot. Potatoizer, and you see once again Slayer standing still. This time I doubt they'll get caught out, but Potatoizer catches them out again. Oh, Slayer, eventually one of these days you're going to learn not to stand still in Potatoizer's lobby.
Right now, though, 10 seconds on the clock. You cannot lose Lucky Prince here, especially on this Reinhardt. You want them to be on a little bit more tank here, but the Visor coming out, Sanji gonna be the one getting the touch here. Same thing with Sweep Potato, very far in this back line.
Yeah, that Amp Matrix forced Lucky Prince to play way more safely than they wanted to, and I mean 3 are already dead, including Lucky Prince. Sanji follows, and it's just Monos left alive, and that will do it. Bastions win Blizzard World and move to match point.
Yeah, I mean, Bastions, you go back to their first round there, coming out on the ball. Seemed like Weezer really did struggle to kind of shut them down a little bit on it, and really, they struggled to shut down the ball almost all the way up until their own attack round here. Once they did, they looked like a completely different team, but Bastions, their attack round was almost to perfection, only losing 1 or 2 fights. Weezer did start to gain some ground, in my opinion, in those last 2 fights they won on the defensive side, but they really weren't able to carry it over to the offensive side because, I mean, again, Bastions put up such a great first 2 points in over 5-minute time bank going into point 3. They finished just under 3 minutes. I mean, they put on a clinic there on Blizzard World.
Yeah, and to their end, you know, they did slow down a little bit, but they only lost, what, a fight and a half maybe? Going into point C on their attack. I mean, their aggression was absolutely dominant. It just felt like Bastion could not keep up. Once again, I think that, you know, the best that Bastion have looked all series has been on the Ramatra. I think that just from my personal experience, I feel like that is what they should be focusing on. And, you know, the Sigma looked okay, I guess. It didn't look bad per se, but it just felt like the way that Bastion has been playing this game with the speed, with their aggression, that Weezer, they just can't keep up right now. So I feel like they do need a change of pace, but that change of pace is going to have to come in the second half. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will see if Weezer can make the changes needed to stay in this series.
Name straight, new wave. Memories. Memories.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Right now, it's Bastion up on top at match point, and potentially a berth in the midseason tournament on the line here. Right now, they've been in control basically the entire series. Going into map number 3, it's going to be Suravasa, and I mean, both of these teams have showed a lot of different looks, but it does feel like Bastion, they have the consistency to, I think, continue their win streak here.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. You look at the two maps we've played so far, while Weezer has definitely shown us something on each map, it just seems like at certain points, Bastion is just kind of able to just put a little bit of distance between the two. I mean, it went to 3 points on Antarctic Peninsula. It was a very close map, honestly, it was. But then Bastion put down an incredible time the first round, their offensive round on Blizzard World, that it was going to be very difficult for Weezer to even match that. And at the end of the day, I feel like we were all just kind of hoping that we would see them complete the map force in overtime, because it really did seem like as that map went on, they started to figure out how to shut down Bastion there a little bit. But I think me and you talked about a little bit over the break there, that Weezer keeps on falling into these old habits that we kind of seen them play throughout the series already, that's just not necessarily working for them.
Yeah, and it's the Reinhardt. I mean, I understand. I really do. I get it. Reinhardt is so much fun, and you've got a lot of honor in playing the funny hammer guy, strong warrior guy. He's just not good. It takes so much to make Reinhardt viable that the investment of resources into a Reinhardt outweighs what you can do otherwise, right? So unless you're like the best Reinhardt in the world, and even Hottie, right, is not playing Reinhardt most of the time these days. And I like this right now from Weezer, right? I like the Junker Queen here going into Suravasa way more than maybe everything except the Ramatra.
Yeah, we do have one change here for Weezer. Fen coming in for Sanjay. They did really good in my opinion, but they want to bring Fen in here playing this Genji. We haven't really seen Genji from Weezer all night. Lucky Prince going over to the Junker Queen. I mean, it's Flashpoint. I will always say this. Junker Queen, in my opinion, was kind of made for a game mode like this. You want to play a lot faster. Bastion, though, I mean, they want to play a little bit fast, but you still do see them want to kind of, still have that shield there. Spot Squid on this Sigma has looked good all night. I want to see how Lucky Prince does on this Junker Queen against Spot Squid.
And here we go. The shout comes out. The aggression begins. The hack onto Spotted Squid. Can they take down the Sigma? They can, and everybody gets a piece of Spotted Squid here in that fight. Teddy Graham follows in suit right back to spawn for Bastions, and just like that, the first fight here on Market is going to go right over to the Bastions.
Yeah, and that fight completely started there with Sweet Potato getting that hack onto Spotted Squid. We saw it happen last map as well. Once Sweet Potato started to find hacks onto Spotted Squid, onto Lupin, they were able to find kills, help their team win fights here. But Sweet Potato gets taken out early here. You're going to need some help from the rest of their team to kind of keep this play in their control.
Yeah, that's bad, right? That's a lot of the backline pressure gone for Weezer. And, I mean, Fenrir is very, very low. Lucky Prince is dead. This fight is just about survive and get the percentage at this point. And you know, they're doing an all right job of it as Sweet Potato comes back. They're going to lose it at about 66 or 67%.
68%, so close, but yet
Okay.
so far away. I mean, but that was exactly what Weezer needed there, in my opinion. They lost the fight, yeah, but they got a decent amount of point percentage, so where if they win a fight here pretty quickly, they can easily win this first point, give themselves a little bit of a leg up here. But Lupin does have this Amp Matrix ready to go, and I would not be surprised if they decide to use it early.
Drowsy maybe just didn't have the Wraith there. Gets thrown right into the backline of Weezer there. And Sweet Potato's so low. Can they finish off the Sombra and even up the score in this fight? The sound barrier is going to come out right after the Amp Matrix. The Gravitic Flux from Spotted Squid is good for a lot of damage here. And Lucky Prince gets rocked. They almost have the Rampage, but Fenrir is dead. The EMP, if they're going to save this fight, has to be big. It hits 3. That 3-second timer begins. But it is already faded away as they get rid of Sweet Potato. The EMP was big, but the Rampage is even bigger. They're going to take down Spotted Squid, but is it going to be enough here? Carnage rips through Teddy Graham, but can they get rid of the Lucio? They can't, and they push the Junker Queen away.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I feel like all the ultimates that Weezer used there were used in the wrong order. They needed to flip them all around. You would have been able to have that Dragon Blade there at the end after that Rampage. It would have won you that fight, won you that point, but that does not happen there. Lupin able to find Monos on the way out. Bastion already 1-0 up on this map. Two more point wins gives them the series here. And now Weezer heavily invested into that last fight here. No ultimates on their side. Bastion gonna have 3 and Lupin already building up to their second Amp Matrix. That's a very impressive from this BAP here. But watch out for Drowsy here and this Death Blossom. There's really nothing on Weezer that can shut it down other than Fenrir probably trying to deflect it away.
Here we go, the hacks out onto Lupin, but it's Slay. I mean, that is just colossal. I mean, that's 2 on the Death Blossom, 1 cleaned up at the end, and a team kill in the feed for the Bastions. And all it costed was a Death Blossom, which is an ultimate that you don't see get a lot of value consistently. So, I mean, a great job there from Drowsy to be unpredictable.
Yeah, and honestly, they had to use that early there. You wait a little bit longer there. Mono's probably built up to the blade, able to build to a beat, able to use that in that fight or when that Death Blossom comes out. Now they will have it in this next fight. We still have both the support ultimates ready for Bastion as they use their Amp Matrix here early.
Here we go. Lupin throws out the window. And the kite comes through from Weezer, but Potatoizer eats a Helix rocket. And I'm sure it did not taste good. I mean, a great rock puts Slayer out, and one more fight will secure Palace for the Bastions.
Yeah, and they only Matrix there again. Bastions have been so good with just using one ultimate in these last couple fights to win fights. Weezer, I mean, they're coming back in with both their support ultimates here, but I don't necessarily know if it's the smartest thing if you want to invest both of them here. But this pick right here, if they do fight, it would be huge.
And they do. Potatoizer goes down. The Sombra able to find a lot of value. And once again, no Wraith form for Drowsy in the face of danger. They use the sound barrier, but they don't really have any other ultimates to try and pull this fight out as Potatoizer still running back from spawn. Spotted Squid is very, very low. And, you know, I think the sound barrier was wasted there. I mean, I understand the idea, but if you just take that, they use the tactical visor.
That is a very questionable usage of it there. And Potatoizer, gonna die because of it. I mean, they hold on to it. They wait for the next engagement. There's really nothing that Weezer has support-wise to keep them alive through that there. You could have easily used it then. But again, you lose it out now. But now look at Weezer. They're in a good spot right here. You want to do the exact same thing Bastion just did in these last couple fights. One ultimate per fight, win the fights out immediately. This EMP from Sweet Potato is going to probably be the first thing that comes out. Is there going to be something else that can combo with it? Maybe the Rampage, maybe the Blade. I just think you need the EMP here first and find someone like Teddy Graham, like Lupin. Find Lupin out first, actually. Get rid of the main source of healing here for Bastion, and you'll win the team fight.
EMP hits 5. The Rampage hits 4. And the Colossal, the ultimate combination there of Weezer might very well have locked them up on Palace. They take down everybody. 5 up, 5 down. Weezer going to even up the score on Suravasa.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe you were looking to use a combo there. I didn't necessarily think you were going to see the Rampage. I thought I was going to be waiting for Fenrir's Blade. But hey, the Rampage worked out. Like you said, it hit 4. You saw all 4 of those members immediately die right away. They even up the series here. But now they have this long walk to the next point. Bastion's going to have this closer spawn, going to be able to set up on point. They don't have any ultimates here. Fenrir, the only one that has an ultimate ready to go. And they have in the past been, pretty early, have used these ultimates pretty early on. I would not be surprised if once you see Lucky Prince get on the point, you see Fenrir pop the Blade to try to force out some utility.
But Lucky Prince is dead, so there's not going to be anyone to touch the point. No reason for Fenrir to use the Blade or even lay their life on the line. Just going to run away, and very, very smartly so. And you see Sweet Potato, potentially going to try and pop out, find a pick, but it will be Bastion's, weren't going to get out. It's whatever, I guess. But Bastions, they start their attack on Temple very well.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting a pause here, and I have to assume that was something happened with Monos there a little bit that brought up this pause. Even Monos is questioning it there a little bit. But I mean, a great start to that point there for the Bastions, looking to kind of bounce back from, essentially going 99-0 on that second point, allowing Weezer to tie up the map here. But again, you see both teams building up these ultimates here. Bastions, though, you've seen what they've been able to do with ultimates in the past. Use one ultimate per fight, win the fight pretty quickly here. So far, for Weezer, we haven't necessarily seen that. We've seen multiple ultimates be thrown into win fights, but they did a pretty good job on that second point, just using their ultimates smartly there, and honestly kind of making Bastion pay for just how slow they were getting back to that point. By the time they re-engaged back on that point, Weezer was already above 50%.
Yeah, it was really, really well played by Weezer at that point, right? I think a big problem that they've had is that they're just using ultimates without a plan, right? The first 2 maps, it's been a plague for them, and finally you see them here on Suravasa, potentially on a composition that's more in tune with what they want to play, because they'd really rather be playing Reinhardt, and I talked about that, so I'm not going to dive into that again. But the Junker Queen, it's fairly similar, right? It's another composition where you want to get up in their face and cut them down. And potentially whether Weezer is more comfortable on this composition or not, I can't really say. I'm not them, but it does feel like they have an idea more so of what they want to do now. And you saw right there, they're comboing ultimates, and an ultimate combo is usually a very, very good sign of saying, hey, this was our plan going in here, and so we use the EMP. They can't use their abilities. Rampage comes out. No immortality field. No healing. They're dead. And that was the set plan that they had. And moving forward, I want to see more of that from Weezer.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like Weezer, their success has really come from Sweet Potato on this Sombra. We saw the Sombra pick come out on every map so far. Been able to find some value, but not necessarily help their team win a lot of team fights. And I don't think that was necessarily their fault. They were finding the hacks onto the right people. Most of the time, it is the tank for the opposite, for Bastion. It's the Baptiste for Bastion. They are doing everything they need to do. They're landing the hacks onto the right people. And it's a couple times we have seen the tank for Bastion get hacked. You normally see them die immediately right after. The shot calling from that Sombra to the rest of their team saying, hey, their tank is vulnerable right now, jump on them. It is really working out for them here. I feel like without that Sombra here, we might be looking at a completely different scoreline right now on this map. We do know what the reason though was for this pause here. One of the players for Weezer did DC, so we're just gonna allow them the time to get back in here, because right now, I mean, Fletch, this series has been incredibly close. If you only watch Blizzard World there, I mean, you could say it has sort of leaned Bastion's way here, but Weezer has put up fights. They just need to complete a fight here, complete a map, in my opinion. And so far, Sarabasa is looking like that map.
Yeah, it's their best chance. And it's what I always say, right? You can't win a championship off moments. And Weezer has had the moments. They've had times where they've looked fine. Like that fight, that last fight on Palace, that fight was perfect picture. That was picture perfect. That's what they need to do moving forward, and that's unfortunate. I'll say that's unfortunate. I guess we're getting back into the map here. Didn't really know that. Fenrir,
look,
Dragon Blade.
That is devastating.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. In this fight, it's very easily going in the way of the Bastions. As Sweet Potato needs to not pop out of invis and stay alive here, but God, you hate to see that.
I mean, you spotted Squid whiffed on their flux there, but again, the blade, you want to use it to force out some utility from Teddy, from Lupin. You're not going to get that because of that now. And look at Bastions here. They're building up 4 ultimates. Weezer, you might get a touch here from Sweet Potato, but I don't know how much they can really do with just the beat.
I mean, that's a great combo there. The Virus and the Axe from Carnage on to Lupin. It'll be a trade, though, but it's not a trade that you want to take if you are Weezer. It was the Baptiste for the Junker Queen, and that will never be a great trade in any world. And Bastions, just like that, in the blink of an eye, they put Temple away, and now they're on map match point.
And Mono's invested beat into that last fight. I mean, they're just putting themselves down a little bit more now, and this is essentially series point for them here. You're coming into this next engagement. At some point, you're going to have an EMP, but Drowsy has a Death Blossom. We saw what that was able to do last time around, but Weezer, I mean, they're kind of split up at the moment. They're going to have to kind of wait for everyone to group up, because that's when they find the most value, but they do see that Fenrir just did use the flex, so if they play a little bit fast and use that Blossom early, they know there's really nothing to stop it.
And they're doing a great job of keeping Sweet Potato in check. Like, they're scared of the Sombra, admittedly, and this Death Blossom is going to come out. It's going to find a little bit of damage, but it's going to be enough, right? And I mean, Sweet Potato has the EMP. They have a few ultimates coming in, but the great job that they're doing is spy checking. They're keeping Sweet Potato away.
Yeah, but right now they cannot get caught out, because you see Spot Squid looking up for it. They got detected there, but going to be able to escape. They have the EMP ready to go here, but honestly, either you're going to use it to hit 4 or 5 people, or you're going to use it to stop Spotted Squid's flux whenever they use it. You have the chance. You have the Coalescence and the Blade ready to go as well. This is a fight you should win, especially finding Potatoizer out early.
I like that. Here is the Gravitic Flux out from the Spotted Squid, and the EMP comes out and hits 4, almost booped off the map, but throws the translocator back on. And the EMP is big, and they have not killed anybody else since then. And there we go. Finally, Spotted Squid goes down, and Teddy Graham unfortunately invests the sound barrier. And at 70%, they will get forced out of the garden.
But the biggest thing about that EMP was Spot Squid actually did pull out the flux there, got canceled by the EMP. A huge ultimate gone for Bastions there now. Yeah, they're going to come back in with the Amp Matrix and soon a Visor, so I would not be surprised if you see a combo there. But now you have the Rampage, you have a Blade here, you're about to come up on a beat. Again, you don't have to use all these ultimates in one fight here. You could use the Rampage just to get stuff going here, try to find a couple early picks, and it looks like Lucky Prince is looking for that.
Here we go, a big Carnage swing through as the Dragon Blade comes out. The damage is certainly there, and Fenrir is going to take down Lupin, but they're going to get away. So they're going to have one more shot here, but in the face of these 2 powerful ultimates that Weezer's got, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, and Sweet Potato, I mean, they've been able to build up to another EMP here pretty quickly. They're not going to get in this next engagement, but again, Bastions, they might try to invest something here, just try to force out something. Monos, it would not surprise me if they use the beat here early, but you do see Bastion get the touch.
They do get the touch, and the Rampage is going to come out, and it's going to hit 4 people, but 2 are already dead for the side of Weezer. They cannot get the Coalescence, and the flips comes through, and they've only got one more chance here.
Monos Ajaxed. They had the beat ready to go. They tried to use it there, just got caught out instead by by the amp and the visor right there. Mono's not going to be able to get back either. Lucky Prince falls as well here.
Yeah, I mean, the unbridled aggression of Bastion is just, it's what led them to winning this game, right? They kept the rest of Weezer from touching the point, and the Garden is going to go over to the Bastions, as is the map, as is the series. The Bastions, I mean, they look strong right now. They moved to 2-2, and all but likely that they have locked up their spot in the mid-season tournament here.
Yeah, and Potato getting the play of the game, and this is a huge play for them here. And the Sombra, they looked the most comfortable. They looked the best on this Sombra all night long there. And as I talked about going into that final true fight there, Monos, I kind of wanted to see them pop that beat early, give them those shields very quickly, because you knew Bastions were going to come into that engagement pretty fast, and they're going to use their ultimates right away. And you saw that immediately happen there with the Amix and the Visor. That was the winning play there for the Bastions in this 3-0 sweep. And like you said, this probably does put them in a very, very safe place here to make the mid-season play or tournament here. But like you said at the start of this, there were a couple teams coming into this week that were 1-2 here, so this 3-0 sweep really does help them out.
Yeah, they get the win, which obviously it would be good, but the map differential is going to be even better now for the Bastions. And to the end of the Sombra for Weezer, I think that they looked the best when they had the Sombra. But I think that the problem is that when you run a Sombra, you either are operating all alone, which is what we saw Weezer do, and that is a strategy that does not work very well in most cases, which, you send one person to get one pick, but, the other 4 are still fighting somewhere else against the other 4 of the enemy team. And, that's why Sombra is so strong in dive, because she can just chill out in the back line in invis, and hack a target, throw the virus out, and have whoever the dive tank is dive on them. In the Junker Queen composition, she doesn't play that same role. She's the main DPS at that point, and you see that they were able to find a lot of value in the early picks, but without that Sombra, the Genji does a good fair bit of damage right now. But if in that situation, it's got to be the Sombra throwing in those viruses. And the extra 100 damage always is going to be helpful. Plus the hacks in the middle of a team fight are always really, really helpful. And you saw that the Bastions, they played very well around that gameplay style that Weezer wanted to play with the Sombra, which like you said, looked good at points. But the Bastions, they adapted and they overcame. They were willing to lose their soldier if it meant that they could kill the supports of Weezer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, give Weezer a lot of credit here. Yeah, they lose 3-0 tonight, but I mean, every map was incredibly close. We can go back to Anarch Peninsula a little bit, and we talked about it. Just slight mistakes, using ultimates at the wrong time. About the Visor and the beat that came out there from Weezer, I believe, on the final point of Anarch Peninsula. It was something that really did hurt them there. If they hold that for the next fight, they probably win that fight and probably go on to win that match. Might be looking at a different kind of story in this series here. This Weezer team, I mean, there's still a lot of season left played here. After this mid-season break, I expect them to actually bounce, look like a much better team, because they did show us tonight that they are a strong team at points, like we have been talking about. They just need to put it together for a couple maps here. Bastions, though, I mean, a very, very good performance for them here tonight. One, they needed here, brings them up to 500 on the season, like we talked about, kind of locks them into that mid-season tournament. They also do have a lot of help from the other team, their sister or brother team, IUPUI Cloud Neon. They are there as well, helping them out a lot. I would imagine they're also in this same tier, so I would imagine if they have played Weezer, they were giving them some feedback and saying, hey, this really was difficult for them to shut down, and that's what we kind of saw on Blizzard World with that ball. It took Weezer a long time to shut down the ball comp from Bastions here, as it just looked like there was no stopping. I mean, the first 2 points on Blizzard World almost to perfection here, but end of the day, IUPUI Bastions OF 3-0 sweep here, probably locking themselves into this mid-season tournament here, and they put on a hell of a show here tonight.
Yeah, they did. So unfortunately, that's going to do it for us tonight. Yeah, the Bastions, they look strong, and I look forward to seeing them next week and what they can do in this tournament. You know, if they make it, I think that the stats are very much in their favor. I think some crazy stuff would have to happen for them to not make it. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing what they do if they make it. So once again, congratulations to the Bastions and, you know, Weezer. I hope that, you know, you can learn from these losses that you've been taking, right? Move forward, move into the back half of the season, and you know, grow, right? I do think that you've got the chops. I think that you can make a stand later in this season, but you've got to be the ones that make the changes. You can't lean back on stuff that has proven to not work, right? You know, I understand comfort picks, and I understand that you feel like you'll have a better chance at winning if you're more comfortable. But with a composition like the Reinhardt, at least right now, it's just not in a place where it can be played, especially into a team like the Bastions, where they're running, you know, a Ramatra, a Sigma, you know, whatever they, you know, whatever you have it. So I do hope that, you know, moving forward, I think that you definitely can be a better team, and I look forward to seeing how you're going to learn. But that will do it for us tonight. Dex, do you have anything else to say?
Nope, there's going to probably be a lot more action here on CGL throughout the week, so make sure you guys follow us here on Twitch, also on Twitter as well, so you know when we go live with more CGL action.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Good night.